Hello, EEF learners. Welcome to my channel. I'm Emma, and today I want you to think deeply about an interesting question. What is more important, skills or a college degree? We'll also explore some useful idioms and phrases at the end. So if you want to improve your English, stay with me till the end. I'll share a story and then some practical expressions you can start using right away. So, without further ado, let's begin. Let me ask you something. If you had to choose between two doctors, one who graduated top of their class from the best university in the country, and another who didn't finish their degree but has spent 15 years treating patients, solving problems, and saving lives, who would you trust with your health? Think about that for a moment. Now, I'm not here today to tell you that education is worthless, far from it, but I am here to tell you a story, a true kind of story, the kind that happens in cities all over the world every single day. It's the story of two friends, a piece of paper, and the question that nobody wants to answer out loud. Does your degree define your future, or does your skill? Meet Daniel and Marcus. They grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, had the same dreams. They were both cut from the same cloth, ambitious, curious, hungry for success. At 18, their paths divided. Daniel got accepted into a well-known university to study business administration. His parents were proud. His neighbors congratulated him. His future, it seemed, was written in ink. For 4 years, Daniel sat in lecture halls, took notes, passed exams, and collected a degree with honors. Marcus, on the other hand, couldn't afford university, so he did the only thing he could. He rolled up his sleeves and started working. He took a job at a small IT company making websites. He watched tutorials online. He failed, he learned, he tried again. He was burning the midnight oil almost every night, not studying for exams, but building real things for real clients. By the time Daniel walked across the stage to collect his diploma, Marcus had already built websites for 30 small businesses and was learning how to code apps. Round 1, Daniel, 1 degree, Marcus, 0 degrees, 30 clients, and a growing portfolio. Daniel graduated with high hopes. He sent out application after application, dressed up his CV beautifully, and waited. The replies came slowly, and most of them were the same. Thank you for your interest. We'll keep your application on file. That, my friends, is what we call being given the cold shoulder. You see, Daniel had a degree, but he had no experience, no portfolio, no proof that he could actually do the work. Employers weren't just looking for someone who had hit the books. They wanted someone who could hit the ground running. Meanwhile, Marcus got a message from a startup in another city. They had seen his work online. They wanted to meet him. 2 weeks later, he had a job offer. No interview process, no degree required, just his portfolio of work speaking for itself. Daniel eventually found a job too, a good one, in fact, at a management consulting firm. They hired him because of his degree, yes, but also because he was smart and willing to learn. I'm not telling you this story to say Daniel failed. He didn't. I'm telling you this story because of what happened next, 3 years later. 3 years into their careers, Daniel and Marcus met for dinner. Over the meal, they compared notes. Daniel was doing well. He had a stable salary, a good title, and his employer respected his academic background. But he felt, in his own words, like a small fish in a big pond. He was surrounded by colleagues with more experience, people who had learned by doing, while he had learned by reading. He often felt like he was playing catch-up. Marcus, on the other hand, was recently promoted to lead developer. He was earning more than Daniel, working on projects he was passionate about, and had just been approached by 2 different companies offering him senior positions. He admitted, honestly, that there were moments when not having a degree made him feel insecure, especially in formal meetings or when applying for certain positions. Every cloud has a silver lining, though. Those gaps in his knowledge pushed him to learn faster than almost anyone in the room. That dinner was the moment both of them had a quiet realization. A degree opens a door. A skill keeps you in the room. Now here is where I want you to really pay attention, because this is the part most people miss. The world is changing, and it is changing fast. We are living in an era where a 16-year-old in a small town can learn graphic design on YouTube, build a client base, and earn a full salary before they ever step foot in a university. We are living in a time where companies like Google, Apple, and IBM have publicly dropped degree requirements for many of their positions. Why? Because they realized that a certificate does not guarantee competence, and the lack of one does not mean the lack of ability. But, and this is a big but, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. A degree still matters deeply in certain fields: medicine, law, engineering, architecture. These are not areas where you can simply figure things out as you go. These are areas where structured knowledge, guided by experienced teachers in a regulated environment, is not just useful, it is essential. Here, a degree is not just a piece of paper, it is proof of a rigorous process. The problem is not with degrees themselves. The problem is when we treat a degree as a golden ticket, a magical pass that automatically guarantees success regardless of what you actually know or what you can actually do. That kind of thinking is not just outdated, it is dangerous. It gives people a false sense of security and lulls them into a false sense of security at the exact moment they should be sharpening their skills. So, back to Daniel and Marcus. Last I heard, they are both doing well. Daniel has now added several professional certifications to his name, taken online courses in data analytics, and is leading a team. He figured out that a degree was his foundation, but skill was his fuel. Marcus, not one to rest on his laurels, went back and completed a business diploma. He said it gave him structure he didn't know he was missing. The gap between them? It has nearly disappeared. Not because one gave up their advantage, but because both of them understood something that too few people understand early enough. It is never either or. A degree without skill is a map without legs. A skill without knowledge is speed without direction. The smartest people I've ever seen are the ones who never stop learning, whether they're in a classroom, in a workshop, or at a laptop at midnight, failing at something for the 4th time and starting again. So here is my question for you, the one I want you to sit with today. Are you investing in your skills the same way you invested in your education? Because in the end, the world will not pay you for what you studied, it will pay you for what you can do. Now we will take a look at all 12 very useful and practical idioms and phrases. 1. Cut from the same cloth. Used to say that two people are very similar in character, background, or values. They were both cut from the same cloth, ambitious, curious, hungry for success. 2. Burning the midnight oil. Working very late into the night, often on something important. It comes from the old days when people used oil lamps to see in the dark. He was burning the midnight oil, building real things for real clients. 3. Given the cold shoulder. Ignored or treated in an unfriendly way, usually by someone who is not interested in you. Most of the replies were the same. He was given the cold shoulder. 4. Hit the books. To study seriously. Often used to describe spending a lot of time reading and preparing for exams. Employers didn't just want someone who had hit the books. 5. Hit the ground running. To start something quickly and with energy, without needing time to prepare or adjust. Very useful in professional contexts. They wanted someone who could hit the ground running. 6. a small fish in a big pond, someone who has little influence or importance in a large or competitive environment. The opposite is a big fish in a small pond. He felt like a small fish in a big pond, surrounded by more experienced colleagues. 7. Playing catch-up. Trying to reach the same level as others after starting late or falling behind. He often felt like he was playing catch-up. 8. Every cloud has a silver lining. Every difficult or negative situation has something positive in it, or hopeful. A very common English proverb. Every cloud has a silver lining. Those gaps pushed him to learn faster than almost anyone in the room. 9. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. To get rid of something valuable while trying to eliminate something unwanted. Used to warn against extreme reactions. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Degrees still matter in some fields.